talking about board expansion. I don't like that. That's not something good programs do. Good programs don't talk about board expansion.
We were making fun of Florida State last year for some board expansion.
This is not good. So let's seize on that, D-Money, because that is usually a big red flag. Board expansion, talk me down.
Well, look, I mean, it's the reality of the situation when we know everybody knows who we're targeting at defensive tackle. Defensive line is the blue chip position. You want to win battles. You have won some really big time battles over the last 3 years. You lost some, you've won some big ones. Those guys need to perform this year, the Justin Scotts, Armando Blunt, etc. But yeah, this year you win Shari Charles, the defensive end. That was certainly a big win. But defensive tackle, Tyson Bacon, good get. Anthony Kennedy, good get, kind of your low 4-star Southeastern players. But lately it's been tough, man. It's been tough. You talk about Lamar Brown from Baton Rouge.
It's Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Lose that one most likely. Anthony Jones, Tank Jones from Mobile, Alabama, probably going to lose that one. Bryce Perry Wright from Buford, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia area, going to Texas A&M. So, the Southeast is a tough place to battle for D tackles. They're expensive. We're trying to pay, but it's hard. And now you expand the board because you lost out on those. I don't think there's any sugarcoating that the reason you're looking for defensive tackles outside of the elite highly ranked guys is because you've missed. And look, that's a position where you don't want to miss on elite guys. Those elite guys tend to produce at the next level.
Can you turn your mic, please? Because it's sideways. And
thank you, Pete, for keeping him honest. Now keep him honest again. Hold his feet to the flames here. This is an obvious pivot. And look, he's not trying to sugarcoat the fact that we've expanded the board because we've been failing out there. But Rob does make a good point when he says our board expansion is basically what our primary recruiting class was 5 years ago. Probably better now than what it was 5 years ago. But look, there have been some good players that I can only assume some really good finds that have come out of a board expansion. So what can you tell us about this expanded board? Who's on the radar? Anything promising? I know you of all people would probably talk yourselves into some of these expanded names.
Well, we'll say last year, this is not expanded board really, because this was someone that they targeted, but Dante Simpson, who you got as a 3-star out of Chaminade. We haven't seen him play yet. So still really, you can't, what's the movie? You can't blank each other's blanks yet on this player. But I think,
which movie is that?
You never heard that? What movie is that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's a movie title.
It's like
you're watching movies that are
Reservoir
titled
Dogs. Maybe it's like Quentin Tarantino.
Let's not bleep each other's bleeps just yet. That's Reservoir Dogs. But
that's what I'm talking
you made it
about.
Seem like that was a movie title.
No, that's
I'm
what
not on that
about.
stuff yet.
No, that's what I'm talking about. So
I know you think I'm into hedonism and all that, but no, I'm not quite there yet.
We're not ready to do that when it comes to Dante Simpson, but I think what you saw in spring, physically, the size, the quickness, the production at an early age, you're feeling good about that as a 3-star hit. So I think you're hoping for something similar, which again, your odds drop dramatically at that position. So it can't say board expansion is a good thing or even something you shouldn't be concerned about, because it is. But we do have a offer out as I share my screen for one Caleb Morris out of Mobile, Alabama.
That is how you pronounce it.
6'4", 260. Let's take a look here at the film. Yeah, I mean, look, I like the film.
It's never good when
single
the
digit.
First 3 words are, I mean, look.
Single digit number. Look at the striking ability right there. Honestly.
How do you feel about single digit D tackle numbers?
Pete, what do you think? I mean, that's pretty. What was coach?
I normally like them, but to me, it screams undersized defensive tackle.
5 guys blocking him on that play still makes a sack. I gotta be honest. I mean, the film is good. Now, what I will say is this: with defensive tackles, so much of this is when you see him in person, do they look big?
Wait a second. This is him running back this pick six?
Yeah, you like that gate?
No, I like that gate. I like the few plays I've seen here.
He looks like speed.
How big is he?
They say he's 6'4", 260. So I think the concern is, not concern is, we haven't seen this guy live. I don't believe. All the other guys that we were recruiting, we had him on campus. We saw him in person. We saw how they looked. They were 5 stars, so they were thoroughly evaluated. I'm not sure what this guy looks like, and I think that to me is where it comes down to. Go ahead.
So 26 is saying 7A Bama ball. That I reckon that's a good district, but I am looking at this offensive line that he is presently wrecking in a good amount of this film. They look small and white. Now Alabama in the trenches.
Hold on. First of all, white Alabama offensive lineman. There's nothing wrong with that.
But they look really small.
I think it's the camera zoomed out. Oh, look at that. That's the thing is you just got to see him.
Like, look how small that quarterback is.
It's the zoom. They're zoomed out.
But he doesn't look that small.
Now we're talking. Maybe it's just that big. That zooming out, he's still big.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is the level of competition here. Do you trust it? Because he's very dominant in what I'm seeing right now, and you should look dominant in your sizzle reel, but he seems to be doing look at this offensive line.
They look like ants. It's zoomed out.
I'll just looking at a picture, I'll pull it up here. I'll tell you who his body type looks pretty similar to a young Armando Blunt coming out.
We'll take that.
Is there any other kind of Armando Blunt?
I'm talking about before he got to Miami.
15 years old?
He looks like he's had a year in the weight room.
Good looking family there. Good wingspan. Good hands.
This is the Mississippi State guy.
Yeah.
Mississippi State commit.
Mississippi State has a good history recruiting defensive linemen. I feel like
Chris Jones, all pro.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Simmons, all pro. I'm just saying. Fletcher Cox, all pro.
Mm-hmm.
I just named you 3 all pros.
You did.
Jake Campbell saying we need a thigh analysis on these new DT offers. How do they compare to Tate McRae and Sabrina Carpenter? That's why I get down to the frame. You got to see it in person to see the body type. Tate McRae and Sabrina Carpenter, you might put them on the scale and they come out the same, but the shape, the length of legs, the thighs, the waist, these are all things you have to see in person, or at least on a very high quality video, I think, to evaluate properly. Because just stepping on a scale or listed height weights aren't going to tell you the full story. You need to see the frame.
We can all agree Sabrina Carpenter would make the better interior lineman. Lower center of gravity.
I'll say
low man wins.
Low man does win, but you don't want Marley Cook's out there. All respect to Marley Cook. The guy did his thing. He's not around anymore.
Man, what was your favorite contribution he made?
Quality depth, right? Good competition. He's stout. He was seemed like a great dude. I know he helped kids with like that needed horses for therapy, when they take the kids to the horses.
Nice.
So I heard it's just a real good dude. I know Pete loved Thomas Gore. That was your guy.
Tom Gore, man, penetrative, quick into the backfield. Made a play against Miami last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like names that are just 2 syllables.
Well, I kind of stylized it that way. I don't know that anyone.
I like Tom Gore is nice.
Outside of myself and Kevin Clark call him that, but
I mean, look.
Yeah.
It was such a great call out.
I will say that the film I did like. I think that he does seem like more of a tweener type than what I think still need in this class. And yes, you get Kennedy a few weeks back. I just think he's still a developmental more product. He's not a ready-made player like some of these 5 stars. You're not going to find a 5-star type as a backup plan. So it projecting forward looks like you're going to be in the portal.
Hate being that backup plan.
Giant Lagoon.